Hello, I'm just shutting the back door. I right. I am finding a tricky time. So I've gone to the I've just gone to the park because I wanted to come out of the house so that I didn't just kind of want to eat everything. So it's quite nice to do a little hour outside. So that's good. We've done that. We took some snacks to the park, so I could for snack, and I had one of those packets of the fava beans, and I've had some breadsticks and some raisins. So they're all very, very, very good snacks, and I'm very happy with what I've eaten so far today. But it does mean that I am at 14 cents. And I was genuinely going to have a pizza tonight. I was make myself a pizza. Hello, Benjamin. I was going to make myself a pizza. So on the Fridays.
This is just my telly.
That's fine, baby. Good boy. But because that's the other thing that normally happens. And as soon as you come home, obviously we want to watch telly, which is completely fine. But if we were out and about doing things while the weather's still good, that means that we spend a bit of more time coming away from the telly. Are you okay, Ben? Do you want to come in or out, sweet pea? You alright? Do you want to go and sit over there on the sofa? Ben, do you want to go? You alright? What am I doing? Right, okay, so so theoretically I would have had a pizza, which worked out at about 10 cents. It was 10 cents I did it at. I think it was. But I don't now want to go down that route because otherwise I'm will be over my sins. And there's lots of other food. I'm thinking about having some noodles and stir fry veg because I do enjoy that. And that's a nice food to have. And I got those ingredients, so I might just put together something like that. Now my main problem is that I go into the kitchen and just kind of want to eat any old stuff that goes in my mouth, and I really want to eat the wrap and the coleslaw and that Gaia has for her lunches. I knew there would always be a bit of a trickiness, but they're okay to deal with because it's for her lunch. But because there's so many wraps there, and I'm thinking, well, we're going to have a delivery tomorrow, so all I need to do is get another packet of wraps and then I can replace them. So I think, well, I could just eat them because, they're nice wraps, and I think I enjoyed the one with the curry yesterday, which is fine. I mean, it's great having one wrap with the curry because obviously you're having a meal and it's a safe way to consume them, but don't really want to go down the route of consuming them just as a snack. Maybe I'm safe because I'm at my limit of my sins. Maybe that's a safe place to be. So then I need to choose sin-free foods. Obviously I can have all sorts of different things. So, hello, you coming in or out, sweet pea? So now also the other bit that I always get is the fact that I feel like I should have already sorted this out. I think the bit that most annoys me and is the fact that I still come up against issues, and sometimes I speak to my partner about them, and he says it's kind of down to willpower, and you just don't have them. And I think that's true to an extent, but I have tremendous willpower. Don't get me wrong, I can, times are tough and I need to push through. I can do it all. I can do all of it continually, and I can, that time at Trenchenbury really showed me that I have capacity to go for days, and I know I can go. I remember when the kids were little and kind of I remember 2 or 3 week stints of kind of having no other adult helpers and just pushing through it and just doing every single thing by myself. And I know I've got the capacity. I know I can do it. I don't feel it's the willpower situation. I feel it's the fact that my body associates those foods with self-care. It just wants to look after me. I get it. I really do. I get the fact that it just wants to look after me. That's all it's doing. I understand that. But I do sometimes get the feeling like I can never really speak to anybody about it, because I feel like they'll say, well, have you not sorted that out yet? I mean, this is years and years and years you've been doing this and still you've got the same thoughts. So what's wrong with you? So I feel sometimes a bit like can't talk to anybody about it, because after the first 3 or 4 times you've talked to somebody about it, then they've had enough. you can't really, I mean, which is why the reason I did the YouTube channel, because I know that there are other people out there who feel the same. You feel like you keep doing it and you keep doing it and you keep doing it. You keep sticking to plan. And you keep, it gets easier. Yes, it does get easier because you figure out the foods that are troublesome, but you still get the thoughts and you still get struggles. You still, admittedly, I've found lots of different ways to cope with things. So I've found lots of ways in which I can cope without binging on things, and without having chocolate and crisps in the house, and without having biscuits in the house. I've found lots of different ways in which I can cope, and I've found ways in which, because often, I remember ages ago I looked at this thing where it's like, those traditional things, will have a bath if you're stressed, or, go for a walk, and you can't do that when you're about to, I've got, should we say, 10 minutes or so before I've got to cook tea, realistically. I can't have a bath this patch of time. I can't go for a walk because I'm at home with the kids. I mean, that's obviously why we also went to the park, because you go and have a play, go and have some time outside. So it uses up the time, but still, when you get back, all it means is you've got less time to have to deal with the thoughts. They're still there. I've still got to deal with them, and I can't just push them away with willpower. I have to keep dissecting every single part of it in order to find a way in which it doesn't have the power over anymore. I can't just, I just push it, because it comes back in fury after, it comes back 20-fold a bit later. You find it, what was it? I struggled because at lunchtime when I had my curry, I really wanted something else. I really want something else with it. I really wanted the wrap, basically, that type of breaded kind of item, and I didn't have one, obviously, because I was at the shop at the time. Hello, Pinky. What have you got there, sweet pea? Is it just a material thing?
Yeah.
Oh, you're there, are you? Is your phone without a charge?
No.
Cool. You just being led along with Benjamin.
No, it's just that I'm being hungry.
Are you being hungry? Are you ready? Well, Mum's going to put some tea in a minute. We're just having a quick chat, so I didn't eat all the foods. Okay. You cover your mouth when you cough. Yeah. So, so I find it easier to deal with stuff as it's coming in. So that was it. What was it? The curry thing at lunchtime. I wanted to eat a wrap with it, but I didn't, because obviously we were at the shop and brought the food, and that was what was there. So you got the rice and the curry, and it was nice, it was tasty, and I got potatoes in there as well, which is quite comforting. But I still feel that. Potatoes. I still feel that a little bit of the residue of the fact that I didn't have anything extra with it. My partner has mango chutney with his, and there's a bit of me always wants the mango chutney, but I know how many sins it is, and I know it doesn't really add very much to the dish at all. It's just basically something sweet.
You want something sweet with it?
Yeah, I do. Well, I don't think it is something sweet. Ben,
turn it down!
Ben, could you turn it down a little bit, please, Benjamin? Benny. Benny, Ben, turn it down a bit, please, if you're in here, sweet pea. Can you turn it down, please?
And all over the house. Also, it looks like a giant, gross, itchy nut. Sure does, Twister. I'm not brushing it, trimming it, nor washing it.
Did it turn down?
If you want to
Can you manage?
Oh, yeah.
Can you turn it down for me, please?
I beg to differ. I think nature will take its course. If any part of your
Thank you so much. That's lovely. Okay, so yeah, it just kind of, and I think it's just because I don't want to really miss out. If you know what I mean, I want to have things for me, and again, it's just the voice in my head that wants to look after myself, and it hasn't had long enough to have these new habits that make it feel safe. And when it gets really, really tough, when my mental state gets really kind of hard to deal with, it goes back to those old patterns because it knows it feels safe. There's other things I do nowadays. What else do I do? So obviously I take a minute out. I come out of a room with food in it. So I just take myself out of an environment. I take some time out, whether I've got the time or not. So I don't worry too much about the deadlines, because that's what I do with the bolster eating. I end up eating because I think, oh, I really need to complete this, but I feel terrible, so I shall bolster myself up with food. Whereas now I know that I'm going to take 10 minutes out actually, or 20 minutes, as long as I need. And the things might not be completed on time, but at least I won't have eaten in preparation for it. I find it useful to put my apron on, so that my body knows it's time for cooking, not time for eating. I find it, trying to think of other things I do. I have a drink, and sometimes I just boil the kettle, intending to make myself a coffee, but I don't end up making myself a coffee. But just the act of boiling a kettle makes me feel like I'm about to do something useful for myself, so it kind of shuts my brain off from all the other thoughts, because sometimes that's it. As long as it knows it might get something, it kind of shuts down all these thoughts of you need something, you need something, you need something. So I have to make the kids some tea. That's got to be a main priority, and I need to shut my brain up while that kids' tea's cooking, so that I do not feel hard done by, or worried or confused, or like nobody cares. So, and I think that's also what I do about the food situation, because if you eat food, then nobody needs to know how you feel, and if nobody knows how you feel, then you're not vulnerable. And if I eat food to make myself feel better, it looks like I'm just eating food. Food is food, isn't it? I mean, it's not very obvious. So I think that's probably another reason why I eat over my emotions, because I can help myself feel better. Like, you know, then you don't get the questions of are you okay, etc. You can just figure out in your own head. Anyway, sometimes if you've taken yourself away and sat down for a little bit, sometimes people can see that you've come away and they go, oh, you're okay, and then you have to sort of talk about how you feel. Whereas if you just eat, then the eating happens and it's normal to eat, so why, nobody asks you why you would be eating. So I think sometimes that's a safety mechanism as well, to make, it's a very easy thing to do that's not questioned. It's a little bit like drinking, isn't it? If you're at a party, then nobody questions why you're drinking, because you're in an environment where you would be drinking. If you're drinking first thing in the morning, people might question why you're drinking. So it's trying to, you end up trying to put yourself in the situations where you can kind of self-medicate on a variety of things. It's very, I think that's why it's hard as well, because I'm constantly trying to rearrange my brain, constantly trying to put myself into new habits, and it's very hard because it takes a lot. It takes a really large amount of changing habits to actually have any discernible effect. Eventually you get to the point where you do feel like you're a different person, but there's still little bits that still creep in, and it's hard work, but you have to keep doing it. You've got to keep questioning why you're doing the things you do so that you can make the next choice along the way. Okay, I feel better now, thank you very much. That's 15 minutes I've taken for myself and to be able to chat to you all, and I appreciate you all being there because it makes a tremendous difference. As I know we're all there together and doing the same thing, and none of us are going to get bored of each other talking about all of it, because it has to be part of our lives in order to change anything about it, so it's got to be the priority. My other thing I've got as well is because my partner, I also make my partner a pizza. So I will also be making him a pizza to have for his tea. I'm going to be in a situation where I'm making him a pizza and I'm not eating one. And normally by the time I make him a pizza, I've already eaten one. So I'm like, yeah, I've enjoyed my pizza. And I had my pizza and my beans last time. That was really good. And I'm going to be in a situation where I'm like, I'm going to put your dinner in. I'm making some pizza and I'm not eating it. So I'm a bit like, okay, so I'll go watch that. So it's going to be a bit of a long slog of an evening, but I think I've got a bit of a plan. Also, I get frustrated by the fact that I always have to have a plan. I do get frustrated with the fact that I just want to eat things I want to eat. And I get frustrated that I always have to have a plan. But the point is you do have to have a plan. Otherwise, if you just eat what you want to eat, which, I mean, I know luckily nowadays I am tending towards healthier things anyway, so I'm okay.
Now my phone's run out of charge.
Well done, go and find your charger then,
Can I
sweetie.
find some food?
Yeah, Mummy's going to put some food in the oven. You go and find your charger. It's upstairs by the bed. So, yeah, it's nowhere near as, it's worth the effort to be able to have a slim body, because the alternative is not where I want to go. If I do just eat what I want to eat all the time, I mean, obviously, I enjoy what I eat, so I'm not like depriving myself to a full extent, but there's choices I have to make. For example, when I've run out of sins, that I don't have any more sins, those are the choices I have to make, and I have to keep making those choices, even though sometimes I get fed up and I want to just do what I want to do, but I know that there's a big part of me that doesn't want to let myself down. There's a bit inside that doesn't want the emotional eater to have control. There's a bit inside that says, please have respect for me. Please feed me healthy foods, because I don't want to have to live my life eating unhealthy foods. I don't want to do that. So there's a bit of me that has to kind of take the reins in those moments and just say, can you please just look after me? And can you please give me healthy things to eat? And can you please just support me in feeling well and happy, and make sure you talk to me nicely? So I have to kind of listen to that bit there that doesn't let myself down, and because there's plenty of food to eat, got to plan it. Okay, I think I'm ready. I'm going to go make those kids some dinner. I'll put the kettle on, put my apron on, and start my Friday night routine, and then I shall find myself all at the other end of it. I might see if I can wonder if I can put myself in a treat or a plan or something. I used to sometimes go out for a walk in the evening, but that tends to be a bad idea when I'm feeling this way, because I'm like, oh, I know, I could go to Sainsbury's, or so I don't think it's a good idea, but I need to find something to kind of carrot me, give me a carrot to the very end of it. But I'll have a little think about that to see if I can find something that will feel indulgent to reward me for putting the effort in at the very far end, because that's probably what it is, indulgence, isn't it, to make you feel like you're looking after yourself. Right, thanks so much for being there. Let's do this thing. See you later, bye. Hello, so I am at where my children have been fed, my partner's been fed, and the bath has been run, and the kids are doing the little bath time routine. So now, because they can get themselves in and out of the bath now and sort themselves out, I have got to the stage where I can have my dinner. Now I'm having some, can you see that properly? I don't know. Some chips, some roasted Mediterranean vegetables, and some baked beans. Put some baked beans on. So I am there at, I'm going to give them a quick heat up. That means I am still within my sins, 14 sins and 1 healthy extra bee. I'll let you know if I eat anything else. Bye.